What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Lito FX back at it again with another video. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you guys my predictions for the week of 1/8/2023. So right now I have NAS 100 pulled up. Previously we spoke about NAS last week, so I really want to go over this trade because this trade played out pretty perfect. So we talked about last week how we were sitting pretty much at this level of support on the monthly time frame, and we're starting to see like some wick exhaustion here. So we could be potentially looking for buys at that area. So then when we drop down to the weekly time frame, we also spoke about last week how we had this rejection candle. So that let us know, okay, that price could be potentially pushing up. And then last week we ended this previous week with this bullish exhaustion candle here as well. So that's letting me know that we can potentially see this week to be potentially pushing up from this area as well. On a daily time frame, we can see here that we had this bullish engulfing at this area to end the week on Friday. So that's letting me know there's a lot of buyers momentum. So I'm going to turn on my my chart here so you guys can see pretty much what I'm looking at for the week. The only thing we have to be mindful, even though we had this bullish engulfing here, we can see that we are still in the overall downtrend. We formed a series of lower lows and lower high points being maintained throughout this area. We failed to make a new low, and I spoke about that last week as well, but we have this trend line here that got broken, and then now is currently sitting at this area for a retest. And we also are sitting at this level of resistance based off of this level right here to the left, where we had this level of support that was being maintained, and we broke through that, and we're now sitting at that current level of resistance on a daily time frame. So on a 4-hour time frame, like I said, we have this trend line. This is just a break, and then we had a retest. Currently we are starting to get some exhaustion on the 4-hour time frame. So if I zoom in here, we have some exhaustion. Also, last week we spoke about the buy opportunities, and if you watch my previous video on my 100K funded account, I spoke about this buy and the breakdown between that. But last week we had this impulse, we had this correction, and I told you guys to just carry this up to this -27 TP. Price broke, impulse corrected, and continued up to this -27 TP perfectly. So that was an easy trade to take. And then I also gave you guys the annotation to say if we break and retest this trend line, look to sell. So you could see that we had a brand new impulse, we had a correction, and then we got this overall continuation. So for those who follow me, you know that I like to draw my fibs. So you can see point A to point B, but then we hit -27 TP perfectly to end, well, before the end of the week last week. And then we got this big buy after we hit that overall -27. So like both of these moves that I gave you guys last week played out like to the T. So I hope you guys took advantage of the buys and then took advantage of the sales once we broke and retest that trend line like we spoke about. So currently where we are right now on this 1-hour time frame, like I said, we are at this major level of support. And then you can see here on the 4-hour time frame, if I just clear this off a little bit, this is just one big area of consolidation that we're in right now. So I want to see if we're going to break above these highs and retest. So if we break above these highs and retest, then that lets me know, okay, we're going to continue to go up. But besides that, this simply just looks like one big push, an impulse, and we're starting to get this correction. Then we could potentially look to push down, but we don't want to look too far into the future. So for the week, what I have right now is, since we're sitting at this trend line and we also are sitting at this major level of resistance, I can see price pulling back to this minor level of resistance that previously got broken, which is also in alignment with this black 1-hour trend line that we have right here. And then I need to see what price does. So I'm going to put a note, wait to see what price does at this area. To see what are we going to be looking for is to see, okay, is price going to come back down here, reject, to then continue to push up? Or are we going to pretty much break beneath this, retest it, and then look to push on down? So the only move that's pretty clear right now is that we're going to have a pullback since we're at this level of resistance. So from this area to that zone is a good about 70 points almost. So we need to see, okay, is price going to pull back and respect this area, or is price going to break through and retest this area to continue to go lower. So this is one of those scenarios where the market isn't super clear. We're consolidating right now, so we just need to wait, sit on our hands, and be patient to see what the market is going to tell us. So that's what we have for NAS 100. And we know that if we break above these highs right here, then we could look to break and retest, just like the note says. If we make a new high, break and retest, then look to continue to buy up, and then we could potentially target this area right here, this next level of resistance at this area right here, which is like about 11,300 area, so around there. So that's what I have for NAS 100. On US 30, we can pretty much do the same thing, overall top-down analysis. US 30 on a monthly time frame, we could clearly see we are in a bullish run, make a series of higher highs and higher lows. We had this previous area of resistance that got broken. Price came back to retest. We had a bullish engulfing at this area, letting us know there's a lot of buyer's pressure in the market, right? So, but this is the monthly time frame, so we know that this is going to take a long time to play out. So we don't, base our whole bias just off of this monthly time frame. But we can see here that we also had this level of resistance that came back to retest as support on the monthly time frame. If we drop down to the weekly, it looks a little bit cleaner. We broke this previous high with a brand new impulse, followed by a correction. So that let us know, okay, we could potentially continue to the upside. But like I tell you guys, you don't want to look too far into the future. You want to focus on price right now. So on the daily time frame here, we could see that we had this whole area of consolidation for the previous 16 days. So last 16 days, we pretty much went this overall consolidation to end the week on Friday. We had this bullish candle that closed above this previous area of consolidation. So we need to be mindful to see if we can continue to push up higher, or if we're going to start to get some rejections to go lower. So here, if I put on the chart, you can see here that we had this, we're currently sitting at this level of resistance right here. But also I have a point A to point B to draw this like downwards fib, because we broke that level and we created a new low. So I'm eager to see what is going to happen at that area. Now, also similar to NAS, we have this trend line stemming from these 2 points here. We had an impulse break, and now we're starting to see if we're going to get this correction, if we're going to get a retest at this area, or if we're going to continue pushing through. So right now, we currently have some wick exhaustion at this area, but this also lines up with this negative 27 based off of this fib right here. So from a point A to point B, price pulled back and then just hit its overall TP structure. So we need to see if price is going to continue to push up potentially to its negative 61.8, or if it's going to respect that trend line and then give us our bearish continuation. But right now, based off of where price is, we can currently see here on the 1 hour time frame, we broke these previous highs. So anytime we break a previous high, we will look for price to come back and retest that area as support. So for the right now money, we're pretty much looking for this to pull all the way back, and that's about 200 or 300 points from the highs to this level of resistance right here. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for to open up the week. And then as we gather more data, we have CPI news this week, and we also have Jerome Powell speaking this week as well. So I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of volatile movements, but right now, as of currently, the only clear move to me right now is this price pulling back to these previous highs. And then we need to see if price, similar to NAS, is going to break through, come back to retest as resistance to push lower, or is price going to pull back down, retest, and then continue making higher series of higher highs and higher lows to then continue in this overall uptrend. So that is what I have for US 30 this week. On gold, we can see here, if we go to the monthly time frame, that we are in this overall uptrend structure, forming a series of higher highs and higher low points as well. And then we can see we have a lot of bullish momentum that's being formed. We have a lot of bullish momentum being formed right here. And then on, hey, be quiet, go, get out. So right here, we have on the weekly time frame, we have a lot of bullish momentum. You can see we have a lot of bullish candles. That's letting us know there's a lot of bullish pressure inside of the market currently. But we did break these previous lows right here, so there would be considered an impulse and a correction. Now we need to see what price does at this area. This is my area of interest for the week, so around 1882 or 1878 to be exact. to see if we're going to respect that level. And then on the daily time frame, we can see here that we broke this previous lower high point, and then we currently we already surpassed our negative 27 TP based off of this fib. We had a 23.6 retracement, and we need to see now if we're going to get rejections at this area. But this area is also in alignment with this weekly time frame. This weekly trend line here, which is this orange dotted line. So if we come up here and we reject this, similar to how US 30 and NAS 100 kind of had like those trend lines that we needed to see, if we're going to respect those, the same thing with gold. So we broke this trend line. We need to see if it's going to come back to retest and maintain that trend line to then push on lower. But if not, then we just will reevaluate once price gets to that area. Now from here on the daily time frame, like I said, we're making a series of higher highs and higher low points. So I'm not looking for selling opportunities until we pretty much break beneath this zone and this trend line to retest to then continue on down. So I have the note look for sales underneath this area. But on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that we have this point A to point B, and we haven't reached this negative 27 TP based off of this 1 hour structure. And also on this 4 hour structure, you can see here that we have this negative 61.8 based off of this fib right here. So our point A, our point B. So we could potentially see price go up to this negative 61.8, but we do not know yet. So we have to just see what price does. But as of right now on gold, we want to see if price is going to push away from this area, come back to respect it as support, and then continue to push on up, or if price is going to break beneath these lows to then continue to push on lower. So gold isn't super clear right now. If you're not really in this trade, then I would just leave it alone until we get a valid retest of this level of support, or if we could just trickle down, get some corrective nature, potentially come to this trend line and then push up. But we need to wait and see. So we need a little bit more data right now on gold. But that's what I have for the overall bias. I'm looking for a price to come up to this 1877 area, and then I need to see how price respects, if price respects that area, or if price continues to shoot on higher. So I hope this video was super helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comment section if you like me to do these trade breakdowns every week throughout the channel, and then I'll go ahead and make a series on these. I'm still gonna be trying to do like the lifestyle vlogs and different type of learning videos, but let me know if you want more of these, or you want more like trade breakdown videos of trades that I've taken, or you want some more like learning information that I could post on here, like like how I did top-down analysis video, how I did the market structure video, how I did support and resistance video. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and I hope you guys all have a profitable week. See you all next week.